Chapter 1 of the Railway Builders. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Scott Foster. The Railway Builders, A Chronicle of Overland Highways by Oscar D. Skelton. Chapter 1, The Coming of the Railway. On the morning of October 6, 1829, there began at Rainhill in England a contest without parallel in either sport or industry. There were 4 entries: Braithwaite and Ericsson's Novelty, Timothy Hackworth's Sans Pareil, Stevenson and Booth's Rocket, and Burstall's Perseverance. These were neither racehorses nor stagecoaches, but rival types of the newly invented steam locomotive. To win the £500 prize offered, the successful engine, if weighing 6 tons, must be able to draw a load of 20 tons at 10 miles an hour, and to cover at least 70 miles a day. Little wonder that an eminent Liverpool merchant declared that only a parcel of charlatans could have devised such a test, and wagered that if a locomotive ever went 10 miles an hour, he would eat a stewed engine wheel for breakfast. The contest had come about as the only solution of a deadlock between the stubborn directors of the Liverpool and Manchester Railway, or Tramway, then under construction, and their still more stubborn engineer, one George Stephenson. The railway was nearly completed, and the essential question of the motive power to be used had not yet been decided. The most conservative authorities thought it best to stick to the horse. Others favored the use of stationary steam engines, placed every mile or two along the route, and hauling the cars from one station to the next by long ropes. Stephenson, with a few backers, urged a trial of the locomotive. True, on the Stockton and Darlington Railway, the first successful public line ever built, opened 4 years before, a travelling engine built by the same dogged engineer had hauled a train of some 40 light carriages nearly 9 miles in 65 minutes, and had even beaten a stagecoach running on the highway alongside by 100 yards in the 12 miles from Darlington to Stockton. But even here the locomotive was only used to haul freight. Passengers were still carried in old stagecoaches, which were mounted on special wheels to fit the rails and were drawn by horses. The best practical engineers in England, when called into consultation, inspected the Stockton road, and then advised the perplexed directors to install 21 stationary engines along the 31 miles of track, rather than to experiment with the new travelling engine. What can be more palpably absurd and ridiculous, the Quarterly Review had declared in 1825, than the prospect held out of locomotives travelling twice as fast as stagecoaches? We should as soon expect the people of Woolwich to suffer themselves to be fired off upon one of Congreve's ricochet rockets as trust themselves to the mercy of such a machine going at such a rate. And the Quarterly was not alone in its scepticism. The directors of the new railway had found great difficulty in obtaining a charter from Parliament, a difficulty registered in a bill for parliamentary costs reaching £27,000, or over $4,000 a mile. Canal proprietors and toll road companies had declaimed against the attack on vested rights. Country squires had spluttered over the damage to fox covers. Horses could not plough in neighbouring fields. Widows' strawberry beds would be ruined. What would become of coachmen and coach builders and horse dealers? Or suppose a cow were to stray upon the line, would not that be a very awkward circumstance? Queried a committee member, only to give Stephenson an opening for the classic reply in his slow Northumbrian speech, "Aye, very awkward for the coo." And not only would the locomotive as it shot along do such varied damage. In truth, it would not go at all. The wheels, declared eminent experts, would not grip on the smooth rails, or else the engines would prove top-heavy. To decide the matter, the directors had offered the prize which brought together the Novelty, the Sans Pareil, the Rocket, and the Perseverance, engines which would look almost as strange to a modern crowd as they did to the thousands of spectators drawn up along the track on that momentous morning. The contest was soon decided. The Novelty, an ingenious engine but not substantially built, broke down twice. The Sans Pareil proved wasteful of coal and also met with an accident. The Perseverance, for all its efforts, could do no better than 5 or 6 miles an hour. The Rocket alone met all requirements. In a 70-mile run it averaged 15 miles an hour and reached a maximum of 29. Years afterwards, when scrapped to a colliery, the veteran engine was still able, in an emergency, to make 4 miles in 4.5 minutes. Truly, declared Cropper, one of the directors who had stood out for the stationary engine and the miles of rope, now has George Stephenson at last delivered himself. Stephenson had the good fortune, he had earned it indeed, to put the top brick on the wall, and he alone lives in popular memory. But the railway, like most other great inventions, came about by the toil of hundreds of known and unknown workers, each adding his little or great advance, until at last some genius or some plodder, standing on their failures, could reach success.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?